Rolling over a 401k into an IRA is one of the most common moves investors make, and in many cases it's the right one, but not always. Because depending on how your 401k is structured and what's inside of it, rolling it over too quickly can mean missing out on big tax advantages, losing access to penalty-free withdrawals, or even paying higher investment fees without realizing it. Today I'm going to walk you through 3 of the major reasons why you should not roll your 401k into an IRA. And before we dive in, my name is Ryan Knoll. I'm a certified financial planner and founder of NAV Wealth Partners, a financial planning firm that helps clients nationwide make smart money decisions. Let's jump into the video. The first reason you might not want to roll over your 401k to your IRA is if you've been buying your company's stock inside of your 401k plan. Because if you move it to your IRA, you'll miss out on something called net unrealized appreciation, or NUA. And here's how NUA works. Let's say you've been making contributions over the years to your 401k plan and you've been using that money to buy shares in your employee stock. And let's say you've bought $100,000 worth of stock that over the years has grown to $400,000. So your cost basis in that stock is $100,000 and it's worth $400,000. If you move all $400,000 to your IRA and then distribute it, you are going to pay taxes on the entire $400,000 amount, and that's ordinary income taxes. But if you do a proper NUA distribution, you'll only pay ordinary income tax rate on the $100,000 basis of the stock, and the other $300,000 you're going to pay more advantageous long-term capital gains tax rates on. What this means is there's the potential for tens of thousands of dollars of tax savings by handling this distribution the right way. But NUA only works under specific conditions. The first of which is you must take a lump sum distribution of the entire plan within 1 calendar year. The distribution must happen after a triggering event like retirement. And you must transfer the stock in kind to a brokerage account, not your IRA. So if you roll over everything automatically to your IRA, you're going to lose this advantage. You want to make sure that you've also been saving up to pay the ordinary income tax. In an ideal world, you'll have cash set aside to pay the income tax when the rollover happens. So if you're in the 32% tax bracket, and we're using the example above, you want to make sure you have $32,000 worth of taxes withheld to pay the taxes on the distribution when it occurs. Or you're going to want to make sure that you've had enough withheld through your paychecks throughout the course of the year so you haven't underpaid Uncle Sam. Because the last thing you want to do is have to pay an additional tax or penalty because you've underpaid your taxes. And it's really important to make this an estimated payment before the end of the year to avoid those taxes and fees. Another tax saving step you can take on this NUA distribution is to take the appreciated stock and place it into an account where you're practicing tax loss harvesting. That way, as losses are harvested, you can use them to offset the $300,000 worth of gain you have on your company stock. So this way you're paying next to nothing or nothing completely on the gains you've incurred inside of that 401k plan. That is the opportunity for a huge tax win for you. The second reason you might not want to roll over your 401k to your IRA is because of the rule of 55, where it allows you to take penalty-free withdrawals. So if you're retiring between the ages of 55 and 59 and a half, under normal circumstances, if you were to pull money from a retirement account, you're going to be taxed and then penalized an additional 10% on that withdrawal. But here's something most people miss. You may be able to take penalty-free withdrawals directly from your 401k without having to wait till 59 and a half and without using the rule of 72 or creating a Roth ladder. That's thanks to the rule of 55. And here's how it works. If you leave your job, whether it's voluntarily or involuntarily, in or after the year you turn 55, the IRS allows you to take penalty-free withdrawals from your 401k plan. The key here is it only applies to that employer's plan, not old IRAs or old 401k plans. So if you roll all that money into an IRA, you'll lose your access to that money or your early access to that money and face an additional 10% penalty on any distributions taken prior to the age of 59 and a half. This can be a lifesaver for people planning a gap year before Social Security, needing to bridge income before Medicare, or looking to phase into retirement. The flexibility disappears with the rollover. So let's say you have $1 million account saved up in your 401k and you're retiring at 57. You also have a pension that's going to pay you $8,000 a month in income after tax, but you need $10,000 a month after tax income in order to continue living the life you're living now. One strategy would be to leave about $50,000 in your 401k plan and roll out the remaining balance. That $50K can be evenly distributed over the next 2.5 to 3 years after taxes to meet your $2,000 income shortfall or give you the $10,000 that you need. It gives you the tax advantages that you want to have and the flexibility that you need, while also allowing you to roll over the bulk of your money prior to 59.5 when you're able to start taking those distributions. So you can invest that money how you would like it to be invested outside of the plan, and what's left remaining inside of the employer's plan, you can then go and take advantage of the Rule of 55 distributions. The next thing you want to consider before rolling over your 401k into an IRA is comparing your investment fees on both types of accounts, what you're paying inside the 401k versus what you would pay inside of the IRA, and the access you have to investments inside of that same 401k or outside in some sort of self-directed or advisor-managed IRA. And not all 401k plans are created equally. Yes, some have high fees, limited funds, and outdated interfaces, but others are actually quite good, especially if you work for a large employer, and they can actually offer lower cost institutional funds that you could buy elsewhere through your IRA or through another type of plan. And before rolling over, you want to ask yourself, are you gaining access to better investments or losing institutional pricing? Will you pay higher fund expense ratios in your IRA or higher management fees in your IRA than you would if you were to keep the money inside of the 401k? And are there any other record keeping or advisory fees that you might not be explicitly aware of inside of the 401k? In many cases, a well-structured 401k could be cheaper to hold than the IRA you'd roll into, especially if you're paying a fee-based advisor on top. And don't forget, some 401ks even offer access to stable value funds or low volatility income fund options that aren't easily replicated elsewhere. So weigh your options. It's not always about control. Sometimes it's about cost and access. I also wanted to leave you with one bonus rule to keep in mind. And one reason you would want to leave your old 401k alone is if you plan to still continue working and make backdoor Roth IRA contributions. If you were to move your traditional 401k to a traditional IRA and continue doing your backdoor Roth IRA contributions, you're going to trigger something called the pro rata rule. And the pro rata rule will make most of that conversion taxable, subjecting you not only to income tax on that conversion, but also potentially a 10% penalty if you're under the age of 59.5. So let's walk through an example, and let's assume you have $93,000 in your 401k and you roll it over to an IRA. If you then do a non-deductible contribution of $7,000 to that same IRA, which is the max anybody under the age of 50 can do, you have $100,000 total inside of that traditional IRA, $93,000 of which you've never paid a dime of tax on. So if you then convert that $7,000 non-deductible contribution to your Roth IRA, 93% of that conversion will be taxable, or roughly $6,500. And if you're in the 32% tax bracket and pay the 10% penalty on that as well because you're under the age of 59.5, that's over $2,700 in additional taxes incurred just by invoking this rule. The solution here is to either leave the money in your old 401k or roll it to the new 401k. By leaving it inside of the 401k, you avoid the pro rata rule stipulations and can do the backdoor Roth IRA without triggering any additional taxes or penalties. This is something I see a lot of investors miss, that many advisors fail to advise them correctly on leaving their funds inside of a 401k if they're doing this, because either they're unaware or they're a little greedy and just want to manage some more assets. So please be aware, if you're going to roll over a 401k and continue working and you're doing backdoor Roth IRA contributions, you don't invoke the pro rata rule. So should you roll over your 401k? In most cases, yes, this is going to make sense for a lot of people. It gives you more control, more investment flexibility, and consolidates your assets in one place. But don't roll over everything by default. If you have employer stock, consider the NUA strategy. If you're retiring between the ages of 55 and 59.5, you want to make sure you're able to take advantage of the rule of 55. And if your plan offers low-cost funds, compare all of your fees and investment access before rolling over your funds. This is one of those decisions that should be made with a plan, not a form letter. And if you're unaware of what makes the most sense for you, get some professional guidance. Rolling over a 401k can be a smart move, but rushing into it can cost you, from taxes, penalties, to missed opportunities. With the right guidance, you can avoid these traps and keep more of what you earned. At NavWealth Partners, we help our clients through these decisions every single day so they can retire confidently and tax smart. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, make smart money decisions.